The Angry Chicken is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. The Angry Chicken is directly supported by listeners like you via patreon.com/TAC.
Everyone, get in here! Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is the Angry Chicken.
Welcome back, everyone, to TAC. Yes, this is our second episode in 5 days, and honestly, we weren't really all that sure what in the world of Warcraft. Oh, that's what I did it. We were going to talk about today. We didn't know. We thought it was going to be mostly, hey, we're finally going to have a chance to sit down, the three of us, have a talk about the quest rogue change. But lo and behold, not only did the quest rogue change go live, so did a bunch of other things. There's so much Hearthstone going on that it's a full regular-ass Tuesday episode of The Angry Chicken. And around the table is the TAC trio, Willie Dills Gregory, Jocelyn Moffat, and me, Garrett. We're all here to talk Hearthstone. Joss, how's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. Feels like I just talked to you, though, so...
Well, you did.
Yeah,
all three of us talked on Friday, and then you and I did our WoW thing yesterday.
Yep.
And then I'm going to raid with you tonight.
Because the whole Frozen Throne thing is happening, like, everyone's talking about it all of the time, so I feel like we just recorded, like...
Yeah, there's a lot of chatter. It's almost like
everyone's so excited. Everyone wants to talk Arthas. Everyone wants to talk about Jaina. Everyone wants to talk about just everything happening in like the image and the trailer and the 5 cards. Everyone's just like hype level is up here.
Even friggin' employees over at Blizzard. I was watching frickin' Lindsay taking selfies with giant like cardboard stand-ups, or maybe they were wall vinyls. I don't know what the applique was, but
she loves Anduin.
Yeah, giant printouts of Death Knight Anduin, and then I said something about Valyra, and she sent me a selfie with Valyra. So thank you, Lindsay. I very much appreciate it. The design is so cool. I want that armor set in World of Warcraft. But Dills, how are you doing? How's Hearthstone treating you, man? It's only been a few days, but things have changed.
Well, it's been good. I had a lot of fun playing. I decided like against tryharding for a little while, and then this change happened, and it got me feeling a little tryhardy again because, you know, we're going to talk about it. But there was some extra elementals added, and some of them make a lot of sense in certain decks that seemed like maybe they were powerful before, and now that little extra push seems to have made a difference. So I went try hard again last night and went 12-3 with a deck we're going to talk about in the strategy section. But other than that, I've been just playing weird wild decks. So I brought back the Dreadsteed deck, Dreadsteed Reno. That deck's still fun as hell and actually wins. I mean, it's got some terrible matchups. There's obviously in Wild, there's people just playing Pirate Warrior and, you know, super aggro Egg Druid and stuff, but it actually gets there. And then I was playing...
But it beats the other people having fun?
Yeah, whenever someone else is having a good time, then we have a game. But I also was playing some Exodia Mage in honor of the Great Balls of Fire wrestling pay-per-view they had the other day.
The worst
so I made a Great
name.
Balls of Fire deck. Yeah.
The worst name ever for a wrestling pay-per-view, by the way.
It was actually like the best pay-per-view they've had this year, by the way, too, but weird. So I made that deck, and actually it tends to kind of work. There might be, now I think Wild isn't really the place for it, but there might be, now that the meta's slowed down, this is another thing that I'm thinking, there might be an Exodia Mage build out there that actually works really well. It beats the hell out of Control, so I don't know, we'll see. Next tournaments are going to be very interesting. Before Knights of the Frozen Throne, there's going to be this little gap here, right, where we're still on Ungoro, but things have changed, and I'm excited to see how that goes. This should be the cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, things get a little stale, Blizzard changes a couple things, and now it feels fresh while we got, you know, a month or whatever to wait. It's great.
Yep, I mean, this is what they've done in the past. There's been a lot of talk about how they might change this cycle up and do different things, but this is working. This is the one time I'm not going to sit here and go, you know what else they should do? Nothing. They
Well,
should just
okay,
keep doing
obviously
this.
there's been a bunch of like the weirdest thing to me always is when such great news happens and then people complain. It's just still boggles my mind. But go to Hearthstone subreddit right now and
I'm going right now.
look at all the positivity. It is crazy.
I feel like you're messing with me, Dills. I feel like I'm
No,
just gonna open the
it's for
subreddit
real.
and you'll be like, haha, got you. It's like the Reddit equivalent of getting
there's nobody
rickrolled.
complaining. If there's literally there's actually here's a title of one of the top like on the front page of the subreddit. Bless RNG. Here's another thing. Firebat on pros blaming losses on RNG. I think it's bad. Pros should stop blaming RNG. Look at what is happening.
It's
The world has gone upside down because Blizzard's given us some free stuff and new content. It's awesome.
They slapped elemental moniker on a few new cards, and all is right with the world. But hey, before we get into that, we're going to talk specifically about that in just about 2 minutes. We have a sponsor to thank on this episode. We have to thank our sponsor, HelloFresh, for sponsoring this episode of The Angry Chicken. And I'd also like to thank them for keeping me alive, because I don't eat healthy when I have to try even a little bit, and I do not have to try very hard with HelloFresh.com. I go over there, I sign up for what is essentially a food subscription, which, where were these when I was in college? That would have made my life so much easier. I go, I sign up, and a box of 3 ready-to-cook meals for my wife and I just show up, and it's there. Everything's labeled. Only thing I need is, like, something to cut with.
They even label things?
They label things, Jocelyn.
So I don't really have to know anything at all about spices or anything. It's not
you
like
have to be able to read labels. But
okay, yeah. I can read labels,
Can
but
you
like
do that?
I was picturing like little packages of like randomly colored spices, and I was gonna like Google image search what all the spices were, but they're labeled.
All right,
just a little baggie with some weird powder in it. You're like, what does this do?
What does this go
they
on?
label it, Jocelyn.
I hope it's cayenne. I think you might need a little bit of knowledge when it comes to fresh produce. I don't think they write like lemon on a lemon if a lemon is called for, but I would hope that you
must
know.
be able to tell the difference between apples and oranges. Got it.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Dills. Thank you very much. But you should check them out over at HelloFresh.com. They are the meal kit delivery service that makes cooking fun, easy, convenient, and keeps at least one host here alive. I'm sure the other 2 could make it okay, but it sure is easier with HelloFresh. The recipes change every week. They come with step-by-step instructions. I really do like it. It's really great when we get sponsored by things that I don't have to sit here and pretend that I like because I love HelloFresh, and it makes cooking so much easier. So go and check them out, and they've got a special offer for you listeners of Angry Chicken out there. For $30 off of your first week of deliveries, visit HelloFresh.com and enter the code TAC30, that is TAC30, when you subscribe. We thank HelloFresh for their support of the Angry Chicken. And now, let's talk about what the heck happened with elemental tags, because they're throwing them out. It's not working.
Good news, everyone!
Nailed it.
Yeah, I love it when the iPad lags. It always helps. Always helps. Hey, so the Rogue Quest nerf is live. Kind of like I alluded to at the top. We thought today this might be one of the only things we had to talk about outside of emails because we haven't had a chance actually somehow the 3 of us to sit down and talk about this damn change. So if you've been living under a rock, it now takes 5 minions with the same name to complete the Rogue Quest, to complete Caverns Below. Joss, you and I talked a little bit about this at Nerdtacular, but nobody heard that. But for whatever reason, I still feel the need to just throw to Dills first because I know you and I have already had this discussion.
Yeah.
So, Dills, what do you think about this change?
So, well, okay. This is a huge change. I really like it, too. I think this is the way to change it because, if you were to change it to, say, like 4 4s instead of 5 5s, doesn't really make a difference. It opens up a couple extra AoE possibilities to deal with the 4 4s. But in the end, it's just the fact that they cost like 1 mana and they keep refilling and all that kind of stuff. That's really what makes, once the quest is done, the game becomes kind of inevitable, right? There's a couple of ways where if you've gotten yourself set up that you can still win the game. And we saw Control Pally versus Quest Rogue pre-nerf at the last HCT where who was playing? Was it Mage? I think it was Mage who's playing it. And he had to specifically do something like Tyrion Redemption, get double Tyrions, N'Zoth 2 Tyrions back out to win that game, right? And that was the kind of stuff you had to do if you were going to beat a quest rogue that was able to complete the quest. Completing the quest one turn later, or in this case, probably even multiple turns later on average, I would think, makes a huge difference because it makes you able to, even in a bad matchup like a control deck versus this deck, which would still be a pretty bad matchup, you can actually now you have the couple extra turns you need to maybe apply the damage so that then the quest rogue just doesn't have the time to do it. So I really think that this is going to... I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, the deck is fine. It's still going to be really good. No, this deck is no longer tier 1, period. Like, this deck is... I think it's still potentially viable against control matchups, so maybe a tournament thing. But this is like a tier 3 deck that you bring specifically to counter like certain stuff.
Well,
it is not good.
It brings it in line with the other quests now, which then in turn kind of like makes it not that good.
Warrior Quest is like
Warrior
clearly
Quest
best
is the
quest
only
now.
one. Yeah.
I was about to say,
Yeah, Warrior Quest is best quest. I do think this makes potentially Mage Quest better because Mage Quest could never compete with this deck.
Mm-hmm.
And now maybe when other people slow down, it's good. And I did notice on the ladder last night when I was playing that it felt like the meta definitely slowed down. There's a lot less aggro. There still was aggro, but there's a lot less of it, and a lot more people trying out mid-range and control strategies. It felt really mid-rangey on ladder last night. So that's, I think, the intended result that they wanted, right? They wanted... This deck wasn't OP. Its win rate was fine. It was just a polarizing deck. It was like it gets crushed by aggro and it crushes control. Shouldn't really exist, you know. Jade is a little bit more forgiving in the fact that it takes longer to ramp. Yes, once you ramp to 10-10s and 11-11s, you just win, but there's a lot more play going on. Whereas Quest Rogue, you're just kind of watching them do stuff, and then you're like, I hope they don't have... Oh, they do have prep.
They have it
okay.
all.
Yeah,
okay.
You know. And that's not a good or healthy play style. So, well done. I think it wasn't heavy-handed. It was just right, you know? Just, we don't need to... This is why I want to see more of, like, just make it cost one more. Don't change a whole bunch of weird stuff. Just add one thing to this, you know, that kind of stuff. Those incremental changes are they make a huge difference in a game of Hearthstone, the way it plays out.
Yeah, I think this is probably the way the quest should have been from the beginning, and I wonder if it would have been, like, played a little bit more had it been, or, like, not played a little bit more, but if the deck would have been more popular at the 5 minions mark. Like, so if we look at Quest Rogue with 5 minions now and how many people are going to play it versus, like, if it had come out this way at the beginning, I think it probably would have been better and it would have done better because people didn't know to counter it right at the beginning, right? So now people have figured out how to counter Quest Rogue, and they have all of these decks where, you know, they can really punish Quest Rogue. And that didn't exist at the beginning of the expansion. So now I feel like this nerf is going to make even less people play it because, like, even the counters figured out. If it just started at 5 minions, I think it might have stuck around a little bit better. But I think that a lot of people are going to move away from Quest Rogue now.
I don't think it would have, honestly, I don't think it would have ever really seen play. I think it would have been one of those things where people experimented a whole bunch, tried to figure it out, and then eventually gave up on it. Because that's what happened to a lot of other quests, right? Like, people, you know, Warlock Quest, people were still trying that thing a month in. They were really trying to make that thing work, you know? And the version that has to be consistent with 5 is going to have to run a ton more draw, right? So they're going to have to not only be running Novice Engineer, but they're probably going to have to run Loot Hoarders, maybe even Cold Light Oracles. Like that, you have to draw your bounce effects now. In a current game, you either have to have 2 minions with the same name, plus 2 bounce effects. In the old version, I shouldn't say current anymore. The current version now is much different. But in the old version, two minions of the same name and 2 bounce effects, or 1 minion and 3, or a minion that had to die and generate extra minions, the flame elementals. Yeah. And so now when you add one more into the mix, you not only have to have time to play it, but you have to draw that one more thing, right? And over the course of a game, that's going to happen, you know, not just one turn later, like probably something like 2.5 turns later. I don't know what the exact math is going to be, but one more card out of a 30-card deck, that's going to take a lot longer. And so I think it would have been, people would have tried it. It would have failed a little bit. The thing was that it just worked so well. It just seemed so easy to find a deck that worked. Like, yeah, put all the bounces in. Okay, wow, look at that. Quest done. This would have been much more difficult. There would have been a lot more difficulty around finding the precise build that works. Someone's still going to do that. Someone's still going to figure something out. It's going to be a lot more draw heavy, a lot more control tools, cards that are actually good, whether they're 5/5s or not, And we did see people messing around with that with like Doomsayers and Tar Creepers and stuff. So it's going to have to move that direction. It can't all just be one cost charging minions or 2 cost draw minions. It's going to have to be a deck that can compete before it actually completes the quest, and then complete the quest and then crush you. Right? That's what it's going to have to do now. So
yeah. I was in the camp of I actually like the deck and not super stoked with its change, but I'm also feel very not super strongly on the matter. I'm like, okay.
Well, but even if you like the deck, because I had somebody come into my chat last night was like, man, they nerfed my favorite deck, and I get it because there's things like Patron and stuff. They nerfed that, and people who love Patron were really sad about it. But ultimately, I do think it made the meta more healthy, and I do believe that this change makes the meta more healthy. If you were playing a lot of ladder, you just noticed that there was just basically aggro and then aggro some more and then some more aggro, and it kind of made sense. And control decks, as much as you wanted to play them, I was trying to play this cool priest deck, and then I was just like, nope, just getting run over. So now there's going to be a lot more mid-range strategies opening up, and more control stuff's going to open up, and it's going to free things. It's nice. It's nice to see. I wanted more variety, and we kind of got to a point where everyone had just relocated to aggro, and so this will help that, even if it does kind of suck for people who love this deck.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see what it means for cards we're getting in the next expansion and the expansion after it, because that was the thing being batted around a lot after this was announced, that I just was like, yeah, I agree with that thought. The point of, well, who knows what's coming down the pipeline. This is probably a terrifying card to look at when you sit down to design low-cost minions.
Maybe the Rogue Death Knight bounces minions, and you don't even have to put bounce effects in your deck, and then you just...
Well, but
it's good again.
It could be something like that. It could be low-cost minions. It kind of really restricts that design space. It could be bounce effects. It restricts that design space. Like, maybe they're going to get a really powerful minion tied to a bounce effect.
Yeah.
That, they wouldn't have been able to put out otherwise.
Yeah.
By the way, I do think that there's some sort of rogue out there that nobody was trying. Because right now, all the rogues that I see are back to just kind of Miracle Rogue, right?
Yep.
They're playing Arcane Giants. They're playing Big Van Cleefs.
That was their only other option.
And trying to bring them back. Sure. I think there's a Tempo Rogue out there somewhere that is closer to what we saw all the way back at our Angry Chicken Invitational when Savitz won, and they all played Tempo Rogue. I think there's something out there because of just the power of a Vile Spine Slayer and some of these other like big tempo, like maybe Envenom Weapon could be a constructed card.
What?
Just the ability to just kill things and then play strong statted minions and cold blood them and hit your face with them. I think there's something in there. Just nobody's really messed with it.
I've seen a few people
Jade
try.
Elemental Rogue. Ooh.
I mean, if you go on, you go to your tier list and whatnot, there is a Tempo Rogue list floating around. I know there's one up on Tempo Storm, and I've seen people like out there messing around with it, but
yeah, but nobody really took it seriously because why would you not play Quest Rogue, right?
Right.
Like that's the other problem with a deck like that. It's like this is clearly the best version of Rogue, so it kind of holds everything else back.
Yeah, by so much. Like there's a lot of different versions of other classes, but when one version of a deck in a class is just so much better, then it's like, well, I could work on this, or I could just play
Yeah.
Quest Rogue and
I could play the
turn
thing I
my
know
brain
works.
off. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think you're not giving enough credit to Miracle Rogue, which is still a very strong archetype. But
But it was never even close
But it-
to.
I would take
yeah,
credit.
it wasn't played that often either.
Well, yeah.
After Quest Rogue was figured out.
Let me finish. I was going to also take credit away from the vast majority of the player base and say that it's too difficult, I think, for the average Hearthstone player to want to bother with.
Miracle Rogue is, you mean?
Yes.
No, I mean that's fair, but also Quest Rogue was too difficult for a lot of people too, just because it is an intricate deck. But I think the real measuring stick is always going to be kind of like the pro scene. And at that last tournament, I think more than half the field had Quest Rogue.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen a Miracle Rogue played in a tournament in a really long time. And that's just, that's what you kind of look at and you go, yeah, I mean, the best players in the world, they're the ones spending hours and hours on this stuff, play testing all the different versions. They all came to the same conclusion. Quest Rogue is the best rogue. And that's, but there's like Freeze Mage and Gunther Mage, Burn Mage and Secrets Mage and blah, 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 all these different kinds of mages. They're all kind of close. Whatever your play style is, you can pick one. Nobody picked one because their play style wasn't suitable for Quest Rogue, right? Like everybody just picked it. So this is going to be good. Overall, good. When things are wonky like that, and Blizzard had the numbers, they said basically what we all knew. It was a win rate overall, totally fine. Win rate in specific matchups, just completely polarized. Like I'm sure the curve just looked like, just sharp as hell, and then middles out, at somewhere. But it shouldn't be like that. Decks should not really polarize that much. So
I'm curious about that with Jade Druid, because it seems like it's pretty polarized with that deck too. It's just like if I'm up against a priest or a mage, it almost feels like an auto win with that particular deck type, which is how Quest felt to me against other archetypes.
possibly, but I'm sure Blizzard has those numbers and they're not as steep, right?
Yeah, well, I think
it
part
feels
of
that way. I mean, I definitely know what you're saying. That like let's say I'm playing a freeze mage against a jade druid, and they just kind of end up overwhelming me eventually. But I also feel like if I navigate the game properly, I can still just kind of get there, right? With just or a big archmage turn or something like. There's ways, and Quest Rogue didn't really have the same kind of playback. So
yeah, well, and I think Quest Rogue was part of what was keeping Jade in check, which is why it's in the back of my mind now.
Sure.
That
Jade
Quest
should
Rogue is
probably.
gone.
We're gonna see, but I think it's gonna be the mid range. We'll talk about the mid range Jade Elemental Shaman, but I think it's gonna be more like that, a lot more of that.
Oh, I think so too. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. These are the thoughts going through my head. Anyways, let's talk about the new elementals. Old cards, but new tribe. So patch 8.4 came in, brought the quest change to Rogue, but we also have Mana Geode is now an elemental, and so are the crystal tokens that pop off of it. Jade Spirit is now an elemental. Genie of Zephyrs is an elemental. Halaziel is now an elemental. And Flame of Azeroth, that old chestnut. Yeah, that was the one that just made me giggle. So out of this, what is it? Total count of 4 cards and then 2 tokens got elemental monikers added to them.
Really, Jade Spirit could have been the only thing on this list, and that would have been all that mattered. But most of this seems like lore changes to me.
Yeah.
You look at those cards, and you're like, yeah, that's an elemental. The Jade Spirit, you look at the art on that, it's a little elementally Jade thing.
Yep.
It seems like it should be an elemental.
Elementals, yeah.
Yeah, Mana Geode, yeah, obviously. Genie, okay, sure. Halaziel, okay, sure. The most of those don't make any difference. The tokens obviously don't make any difference because the only thing that elementals really do is, turn something on the next turn if they are played, not summoned. So the tokens don't matter until we get something that buffs elementals, right? Which we just don't really have. But the Jade Spirit alone was enough to, I think, nudge Jade and elementals together and actually give us some 3 new possible viable decks. So pretty sweet.
Yeah, which is the thing shamans were already trying to do. And this it's all we really needed. They just needed this little bit of Jade Spirit glue. It's a new brand of glue. You can go get it on your Hearthstone store shelves. I think to bring them together, because I've had an elemental shaman just hanging out in the wings. It's just what I do when I just need to go play a bunch of shaman cards, because I keep getting that damn quest, and honestly, token shaman doesn't play that many shaman cards, so.
It doesn't, and it's again another kind of quest rogue situation, right? Where there's one kind of shaman right now. And sure, someone's gonna be like, "But Dills, I play control shaman." It's like, well, you're a special unicorn out in the world, yeah. There's just, if you again tournament scene, it's just token bloodlust, devolve shaman. That's what's out there, and it's one of those things where that's not really that healthy when there's just one kind of archetype for a class. So here, a little nudge, I think, is going to be pretty cool. And also, I think you could try Jade Elemental Druid and Jade Elemental Rogue, and I think there might be something in there. Because you don't need the full Jade, like you don't need to build your Jades all the way. And the Elemental cards, when the curve smooths out a little bit, they are so strong in the mid game. So
yeah.
Do druids, because I haven't paid too much attention to elementals in anything except for pretty much mage and shaman, do druids and rogues actually have really strong elemental synergy cards?
Well, I mean, just the neutral elemental synergy cards are enough.
So Blaze Caller.
Yeah, Blaze Caller, Servant of Kalamos.
Right.
These cards are.
I keep forgetting this
really
because I've only ever seen Servant of Kalamos played in Shaman, so I keep forgetting it's not a Shaman card.
Yeah, it's easy to think of it as a shaman specific, but yeah, no, I think what Dills is laying down is if you are a Jade wielding class, so Rogue or Druid, that Jade Spirit getting the elemental moniker is enough to make you at least consider additional elemental cards.
Yeah, and because you can also just play cards that are just okay already, right? So, like the Tar Creeper is already okay, and you can just kind of play that. So it's like you don't have to add much to then end up with a situation where just those cards being so powerful on their own, if I could just have one more possibility to activate those, and Jade Spirit on 4 into Servant of Kalamos on 5 is just incredibly powerful. So. Yeah, I think there's something in there. By the way, people in the chat are saying, Dills, doesn't it matter because tokens can be bounced? Dude, that happens so rarely.
Yeah,
if
it really doesn't matter.
That it is like insignificant in the conversation. Yes, sometimes it will happen. There will be a game where a rogue will vanish my tokens back to my hand and I will activate elemental stuff. But it's just not going to happen enough. The Jade Spirit thing is really the one that matters.
Actually, Quest Rogue is gone, so that won't happen.
But maybe the Tempo Rogue plays Banish, right? Mill Rogue comes back. I don't know. But yeah, it's just such an edge case. That
There'll be a scenario where I end up
where
Dills is in sub rank 20, goes against a Mill Rogue and gets a Vanish back, and he's like, "Oh my god, that guy in Twitch chat was right."
But so here's the other thing: is I AP drop already had an Elemental Rogue, right? Mm-hmm. And now if you could throw a couple of Jade things in there. And, obviously Rogue has the Jade Swarmer or whatever and the Jade Shuriken and all that kind of stuff. That's maybe the missing piece because that Elemental Rogue was really fun, but it was very clear when I played against a good deck that it was nowhere near a top-tier deck, And even if it gets to like a tier 2 now, that's at least worth, if it's a style you find fun, that's now something that you could actually do, right? And not feel so terrible.
Yep.
I think it's good. Elementals weren't dominating the ladder, right? Mm-hmm. So let's nudge them up a little bit and see if they can find their way into the meta at all.
Which makes sense because I can see why Blizzard would want to do that. Elementals were a big theme of their last expansion, right? They were like, ooh, Ungoro, questing, elementals, and then everyone went,
if you put them all
elementals.
You're going to be balling, right? That's what I was told.
No one was balling, guys. No one was balling.
Just throw with his neck balls.
I thought I'd be balling. Ben Bro lied to me.
8.4 patch notes. Increase the ballerness of elementals. Wonderful. Also in the 8.4 patch notes was a rather sizable note about arena balance. So what in this, Dills, is new and what is stuff that's always been the case since Ungoro, but they're just now making it publicly aware?
None of it was always the case since Ungoro, but the last time they made the big change is when they upped spell percentages, right?
Right.
And they upped them to 200%. They upped rarities. so that it was less commons and more epics, rares, and legendaries. That stuff has basically stayed the same as far as I know. Class spells and weapons are now included with the spells. So the increase to spells is now applied to weapons, which I always thought should have been the case. Didn't really make sense that they upped one and not the other, because obviously upping spells doesn't do anything for warrior. You're like, sweet, I have more terrible warrior spells. Great. But now warriors are a little closer. I think they're in line with, say, warlocks right now as far as power level, which is good. They're not the clear bottom class. And this happened a while ago, the weapon thing. They just didn't tell us. So apparently it was put into the game for a while. Some clever arena players who pay a lot of attention to the stats kind of figured it out. And, they put the word out. And then somebody mentioned it on Reddit, and then Ixar came in and said, "Oh yeah, weapons were upped to even with spells." So that's weird. I wish they would just tell us when they make any changes at all. But here they put them all. Maybe the plan always was like we're kind of incrementally putting them in, and then once there's a big patch, we'll put them all in the patch notes. That's great. I want detailed patch notes like we got here. They also put out the entire list of the unavailable cards, which we know about most of them. But there's some cards from Ngoro, which I guess they just hadn't ever said specifically, which are the quests. The quests are not in Arena. And then they added Vicious Fledgling to the Flame Strike and Abyssal Enforcer nerf, where it's offered 50% less often. So that's good because it'll happen less, the super frustrating situation. But I honestly just feel like we haven't really talked about Vicious Fledgling on this show, actually. It's been a hot topic, I think, for a lot of people, but I just think it's a badly designed card, and I wouldn't mind seeing the card just change. Not that it's like OP, but badly designed, right?
Yeah.
So
what would you
it'll
do?
happen less, but when it happens, it's still going to suck,
Yeah, well, I mean, you could say that too of Flame Strike and Abyssal Enforcer.
Yeah, but I think the problem with those cards was decks that had like 4 of them, right? And so the offered 50% less still makes a big difference. Just the fact that there's less fledglings doesn't mean that when fledgling hits the board on turn 3, it's going to be less impactful, right? Like one Flame Strike isn't going to win you a game. It's the 2 and 3 Flame Strike decks.
So is this
the 2 and 3 Vicious Fledgling decks aren't really a problem. It's the 1 Vicious Fledgling that comes down on turn 3.
Okay, so are you saying
or turn 1
that you think it's a poorly designed card specifically for Arena? Because that's where
I
my
think it's
head's
poorly
leaning.
designed for Constructed as well, because the Innervate turn 1 Vicious Fledgling is just like game over. I had a game last night where a guy, he was playing aggro. I actually won the game, amazingly. I won the game twice because I missed lethal too. Chat was right. But
What?
I know. Yeah. I was like, no, I didn't. Oh wait, you are right. But anyway, he had a Bittertide Hydra on the board, and then he played double Vicious Fledgling, 2 of them, and I couldn't kill both of them. I could only kill the Hydra, and then he put a Tar Creeper up, and then he got Wind Fury on both of them when he attacked my face on the next turn. Both of them got Wind Fury, and then both of them got Divine Shield. So there was just 2 Wind Fury, Divine Shield, Vicious Fledglings on the board. And I just tried to play taunt minions to protect my face as best I could. The next turn, he was able to remove some stuff, and he connected face again. And it's the problem that I have with the card is that it's a card that gains value for doing something that shouldn't gain you value, right? Going face isn't the thing that should be getting you value. And it's just weird. I would like to see what if the card said, not after you attack face, but whenever you attack a minion, you evolve, right? So it would be like a really useful trading tool where as you're attacking, before you actually hit, you can evolve and then sometimes get like a Divine Shield and get the free hit or something like that.
Oh, so when you trigger the attack, the option of your adapt, it comes up before the hit
it pops
lands?
up before the attack completes, right? Things like that. It would just be a card that has a lot more interesting back and forth and not just, okay, all I'm trying to do is connect face and then I win. It's snowballs for doing the wrong thing, right? Like hitting face should be like a risk reward choice. And there's no risk reward with Vicious Fledgling. Like it's just reward, right?
Yeah.
So
The only way it would have a risk is if like the opposing hero had a weapon equipped and the weapon did damage to anything that hit the face, even like without attacking. If that was just like the attack value of the face.
Yeah, and even then, I hope you're a warrior, because
it never works like that unless it's activated, right? So
yeah,
it's just, I don't know. It's just like this is like this feels like a Band-Aid that doesn't actually fix the problem. It's like we got kind of like a pretty severe wound here, and then they're like, oh, this will be fine. It's got like Hello Kitty on it, and they're like, yeah, that's gonna be okay, right? You're still bleeding out of both sides. Like that's what this kind of feels to me like. It's not fixing what the problem with Vicious Fledgling is, and it's a card that doesn't really operate in a way that it should, right? It probably felt pretty cool to them at the time, like, but imagine if you hit face and then it adapts, like, because now you're doing something you shouldn't do with it, and it's getting better. But it just kind of snowballs. It's
one of those things
like
I'd like to see the stats on, because this is like, the more I'm listening to you talk about your grievances with Vicious Fledgling, the more it sounds like Quest Rogue to me. Because I'd be curious if their stats outside of Arena, so I'm talking constructed here, actually showed that this card was imbalanced in the way that it was played, because I often find that when it is played against me on ranked anyway, that I frequently have an answer to it, and that's the thing. That's why I was saying is like, I think I agree with you when it comes to Arena. I'm not sure I agree with you when it comes to constructed, because in Arena, my deck, who knows what it looks like. I might not have any card in the whole 30 cards in my deck that can actually deal with the damn thing, but so often in constructed, I find I do have answers to it, but I will concede that when you do lose to Vicious Fledgling, it feels terrible. And I think that was the issue for a lot of people with Quest Rogue as well. Yes, it was technically balanced from a win rate perspective, but losing to it was just a feel-bad scenario for everyone.
It certainly feels bad to lose to it, but I'm just saying, like, the card doesn't operate the way any other card really does, right? Like, there are definitely cards that when they hit the board, you're like, that's got to go, right? That's got to die. And I don't want those types of cards to go away. But what this card does is it like rewards the wrong type of behavior, right? It doesn't reward you for, it's again like just value for aggression, which isn't really how that should work. Like aggression should be something that has a drawback to it, and this like just has an upside.
Well, I mean,
to
you
aggression,
even mentioned one of those cards, right? With the Hydra. Like, it's an aggressive card. It's an 8/8 for 5, but it has the drawback of damaging your hero if it takes damage.
That's a greatly designed card. I love that card. Yeah. And look, when you double innervate that thing out, or you innervate it out on turn 2 or 3 with a coin, sometimes on 2, like that's where I'm like, oh God, that's terrible. But what Flappy Bird does, Vicious Fledgling does is it just sometimes snowballs in a way that's just not, it's not fun and interactive, right? And if that's the whole point, there's no fun and interactivity there. And I think there's lots of ways that card could still be very cool and could be offered at 100% rate in Arena. It just wouldn't be exactly this, right? And I don't know. I just feel like it's a poorly designed card.
Yeah, and there are some other card chat room right now is throwing out there Jade Illusionist, Cut Purse. Like, there's other cards that do reward for hitting face, but the reward isn't as impactful as Vicious Fledgling's reward, right? Like, no one plays the other cards because they have kind of built-in drawbacks almost. This is like 3/3 for 3 that then just gets better.
Yeah, I don't mind the idea of hitting face and then getting something, but yeah, you're right. Like Cut Purse, a coin, right? Like that's an acceptable. It still is a card that has to die, right? It's what's the one that makes your first minion cheaper the next turn? Pint-sized Summoner, right? Pint-sized Summoner is a card that was for a while, like it and still does kind of see some play in Arena and has kind of a built-in reason to want to hit face because you don't want to kill it. You don't want to use it to trade because you want to keep its effect around. The problem with like Vicious Fledgling is you hit face 30% of the time you get Wind Fury, and then you hit face again, then you get Stealth, and it's just like, okay, well, this is dumb. The benefit is the swing to the benefit is just so insanely big or small or whatever. And you're right, Garrett. In Constructed, I'm sure the stats aren't that it's OP, but it's just like when it does what it does, it's just it makes the game, it's like, okay, the game's over now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't want games to end on turn 1. I really don't. This is why I don't like 1/3s that grow. I don't like that kind of mechanic. Things like, how Undertaker were. I love the idea of a 1/2 that can grow and attack on turn 1, but I want some play back and forth. I want there to be something that happened on turn 2, 3, and 4 that mattered, not the thing that happened on turn 1 just decided the whole game. So hopefully that's something they're considering.
Well, I guess we'll see. Or you know what, Dills? What's going to happen is Knights of the Frozen Throne is going to come out, and something just more broken in the 3 slot that Druids can innovate out and going to come out and make.
By the way, the other change that was made is kind of an interesting one to Arena. They are basically looking at specific cards that were incredibly popular, and they're adjusting in like the super good classes. They're adjusting those cards down a touch, between 1% and 5%, and adjusting some other cards up and things. So these very incremental changes, which I believe them when they say it's not going to have an effect that you will feel in each individual draft, but overall the classes will all squish together a little bit more. So you should see all of the classes in Arena over time like feel a little more equal, and that's going to be nice. So I like this. I think that's great. I was asking Adwicta and Merps about this, and I was like, is this going to affect your tier list scores at all? They're like, these changes they're so small, and that it's not going to change the actual value of any card, right? So, yes, like some cards will become a little bit better just because, like I used a card like the Ooze, right? The Gluttonous Ooze. If suddenly there's more warriors, does Gluttonous Ooze become better? And he said, yeah. Incrementally, not by a huge amount. So, you can think of it in that kind of way, but the values of the cards aren't going to feel super significantly different, which is good. I like this.
Yeah.
Just if they want to keep doing this like forever, I don't need to see the numbers on it. Just you guys see the numbers, that these cards are always being picked, lowered a little bit. Cool.
Yeah, no, just knowing that they're in there tweaking is awesome, and also sounds dirty because they're in there tweaking.
But in there twisting the knobs.
Yeah, like flashback a year ago, whenever Arena would come up on this show, it would what was the discussion we were having? There was no discussion to be had because they weren't doing a damn thing to Arena, and now here we are being like, wow, this is a lot to take in. And
yeah.
I like that you brought up that final point where they're talking about messing with the drop rate of popular cards. They didn't even say what the cards were because we don't need to know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm just glad to know that they're in there addressing it. So I like it. I really like what they've been doing with Arena a lot.
There's even more Arena news.
There is. There's so much. There's so many.
It's crazy.
There were so many small pieces of news that came out this week in terms of what was happening with Frozen Throne. So I kind of just compartmentalize it all into miscellaneous. So if you haven't noticed already, the pre-order is live. You can go and grab your pre-order for $49.99. You get 50 packs. Rewind a couple episodes, listen to what's happening with the change to legendary drops and all that, because that's going to affect Frozen Throne. It did not come in.
You get a card back too.
Yes, you do get a card back, and it's awesome looking. It's fantastic. I'm going to be using this damn thing forever. I've had the original. What was it called? Ice Crown or whatever?
Ice Crown, I think. Yeah.
I've had the
way
original,
back in the day.
The original Ice Crown card back as my favorite since I think it was the second or third month of Hearthstone. So I'm gonna finally change it. Because this new Frozen Throne card back is badass. Also,
do you get the card back right away when you pre-purchase? You guys pre-purchased?
I have pre-purchased. I don't think you get it right away.
You don't think? Yeah, I don't. I was wondering about that.
I have not pre-purchased, but the verbiage made it sound like you do get it right away.
Okay.
I logged in after I pre-purchased. I got a notification saying my 50 packs were there, but I didn't get a notification saying "ta-da, card back." So.
Yeah. Although I don't remember if that's ever happened, but chat will know. Chat.
Oh,
you get it right away?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I could have sworn that's happened with Ungoro too, but I could
Thanks,
be mistaken.
dudes.
Whatever the case.
All right, well, I'm going to pre-purchase now.
Yeah, whatever the case is. And
it just came in with the patch.
Ah, okay.
So that might be why.
Okay, yeah, because the pre-purchase was available before the patch, but now the patch is live, and that's what brought in the card back. So now, if you pre-purchase, you should have your card backs.
You guys will have to let me know if it goes ta-da when you get the card back.
I'm going to have to change from my legend card back?
Yeah, dude.
Anyways, this was data mine. This is not an official announcement, but it's totally coming. Like, there's no way this isn't happening. The Frost Festival. So this is going to be a 3-week long event. We're assuming coinciding with the release of Knights of the Frozen Throne. Each week during the festival, we are going to get a free arena run, and we'll also be able to earn a Frozen Throne card pack if we play 3 arena games. And that's 1 card pack per week for 3 weeks for 3 arena runs, and we're getting a free arena run 1 time each of those 3 weeks. So there's no reason you shouldn't be doing this. Also,
yeah, even if you go 0-3, you play your 3 arena games. So
yeah, it's not,
as long
it's
as
not
you
win.
actually use the free arena run, you will also get more rewards on top of that.
Well,
so.
you use it and run out the 3 chances. Like, you can't just
You can't draft and then retire and just take the pack, right? No. I mean, you could, but you won't get the extra.
Yeah, why would you do that? Go play arena. Did you listen to everything we just talked about? They're doing great things in arena.
Mm-hmm.
Go play arena. This is awesome. If this is what they're doing, this makes me really, really stoked, and it's meeting me halfway, guys. It's meeting me halfway on wanting a return to the freaking GVG arena event that we got before Goblins vs. Gnomes way back when, where we got to go in arena and draft with GVG cards before the damn expansion even released.
Mm-hmm.
All right, just confirmed, by the way. I did my pre-purchase. Card back live.
Nice.
It is now marked as my favorite.
Nice, man.
It is awesome.
Just keep playing. You don't need to pay that much attention during a podcast recording. Just keep playing. Let
We're
me know
done
how
with the
your
arena
climb goes.
stuff, right? I'm just gonna go ahead and start laddering.
Yeah, just start drafting and let us know what cards you're picking.
Okay.
And
let us know where the 1% changes, please.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And we'll help you. We'll help you
I'll
pick
figure
some
it out
cards.
through one draft. I'm sure. I'm gonna crunch the numbers.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So if you think about this, we're getting essentially 9 free packs now, right?
Yep.
Because you get your pack from the free arena run. You get at least a pack.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get your extra pack for playing the 3 games.
Right.
Then you get your 3 packs from doing the solo content.
Right.
And you get a free legendary. This is great. Like,
yes.
Holy hell. And we're getting double gold right now.
Yep.
Because of the Fire Festival. My God.
Which I love that it's like Fire Festival rolling into Frost Festival.
Frost Festival, yeah.
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 And there's a reference to Ahun in the Frost Festival stuff.
That's right,
so
yeah.
that's the Midsummer boss from Warcraft. So
we don't
pretty
know
cool.
when this is happening, right? But I would guess it's going to either be a pre-event or like right after it launches.
Well, let me
they
strap
said-
on my Frostmourne colored tinfoil hat, because in a developer interview, Dave Cossack told IGN that solo missions will be rolling out weekly, wing by wing. There are 3 wings, which means 3 weeks. And if the Frost Festival is 3 weeks long, we're getting a 3-week rollout of the solo missions for Knights of the Frozen Throne. It was an inside job.
it would make sense that it's all the same 3 weeks.
So I think we're going to have like a prologue, like 1 or 2 bosses, right? That'll happen before it releases, which will then award you.
They said prologue and wing 1 are coming
that all
at
happens
launch.
at the same time?
At
Okay.
launch, yeah.
Man, that's kind of weird. Prologue should be
before.
Yeah. All right, whatever. Okay, fine.
I don't-
Semantics aside, fine. Cool. But and then that makes sense then. So week 1, week 2, week 3, those are all 3 weeks of the Frost Festival. Yeah, okay, I like it. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, by the way, we should mention, confirmed by Blizzard now, the duplicate rule about legendaries matters all the time, no matter how you get said legendary.
Yep.
So there were some people saying you should do the prologue before you open your packs, because that way you won't get duplicates. No, it's not going to work that way. In fact, there's a slight advantage to doing packs first if you want more hero cards, because if you already have a hero card, any legendary you get will not be that specific hero card, right? So instead of having a 9 out of 9 chance for that legendary to be a hero, or what, a 9 out of however many legendaries there are, you'll have 8 out of however many legendaries there are. So yeah, there's actually an incentive if you want the hero cards to do packs first. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was confirmed, which I figured, because I was like, that seems like a silly way to write the code to not have it just work that way everywhere. So
Yep, confirmed by CM Daxari. So there you go. Also, CM Kikenby said that if Build-A-Beast creates a Zombeast with a Death Rattle effect, the Zombeast can be resummoned by N'Zoth's ability.
I love this so much.
N'Zoth Hunter.
Makes sense.
Done.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
I'm just done here. I'm definitely making a freaking N'Zoth Hunter, and I hope it actually works, unlike the Quest Hunter I was so excited to build.
I know. I'm a little bit wary because, I mean, Quest Hunter was supposed to be so good, right? Everyone was like, oh my god, this is going to be OP. I want Hunter to be great, so I want to be excited about, like, a N'Zoth, like, Death Knight Hunter, Deathstalker thing. I really want to be excited, but I don't know. I've been burned once already.
It's a control deck, though, if you're playing that, right? So you're going to be you're going to be playing all types of removal options. Like, I kind of foresee, deadly shots and Hunter's Marks and all that kind of stuff coming back. Mm-hmm. Hunter's Mark with a Wild Pyromancer is always, like, one of those things that nobody really thinks about, but it's a pretty cool little synergy that could be very cool to get you there. I even predict maybe we see some Piranha launchers come out, more secrets with the weapons just to be able to control the board until you get to the point where you're just chucking out zombies and then you N'Zoth back all your stuff, So, yeah, could be cool.
Could be cool.
I'm going to try.
I think we're probably going to need some kind of healing, though. I don't know.
Lifelink.
Yeah.
Lifelink's coming.
Lifesteal, right? Not Lifelink. Lifelink is what you buy for your grandma if she can't get to the phone.
Yeah, Lifesteal, excuse me. Lifesteal.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, Lifesteal is more of a Warcraft term anyway.
There was, and of course I didn't notate it here, there was a comment by one of the devs that there's not going to be a lot of Lifesteal cards, but that they were trying to spread them around to classes that don't typically have healing effects.
Sure.
So
I would expect we'll see
the
some neutral
first two that we
versions.
saw were Priest and Paladin, right? Priest and Paladin are like the healing effect classes.
Yeah.
well, this is what happens when you only show 5 cards.
Them.
This is what happens.
I want one that's neutral. I don't care, if it's super good or not. I just want one that's because I loved the idea that Healbot was just a card you could put into any class that just needed some healing, and right now the healing options when you're a class that doesn't have them innately are just terrible. You're putting Voodoo Doctors and Earthen Ring Farseers and all this stuff. Cult Apothecary just never was good enough. So, yeah, I really want to see something decent, mid-range decent for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do too. Hunter, man. I'm ready. Bring Hunter back. I'm so ready for more Hunter or any Hunter. I'm seeing Hunter.
I'm just ready for zombies.
I'm just not getting beaten by Hunter. All right. Well, before we move on to strategy and talk about Elemental Jade Shaman, let's thank our other sponsors for this episode, Harrys.com. You can go to harrys.com/TAC right now and sign up for their trial set, which you can get for free just to your door. Go sign up. There's no reason not to. Everyone has hair they want to get rid of, right? Maybe?
Absolutely.
Or is it just me? Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Jocelyn, for being my sister in hairy arms.
Hey.
That must be.
Whoa.
That must be shaven.
By the way, I'm not working on my summer bod, but I'm at least working on my summer hairless bod, right? So like, it makes you look more cut, whether whether you're actually looking good or not. Once you take the hair off, it's like, hey, look at that. It's like I just worked out or something. All I did was use my Harry's razor.
Well, you just work out so little that the act of shaving actually gives you a little bit of definition.
Makes me sweat. I sweat when I shave, Garrett. Yes, it's true.
Exactly.
I mean, have you look when you're not as flexible? It's really hard to reach back here. So you got to go from this angle and then this angle, and it's
Think of all the muscles you're working when you're doing that.
Yep. I'm limbering up while I shave my back.
Oh, for crying out loud. All right, well, go
Harry's razors.
Go check out harrys.com/TAC. Give their trial set a try absolutely for free. You will get a razor handle of your choice, a 5-blade cartridge, shaving gel, a travel case, and listen, we're hairy people here on the Angry Chicken, at least 2 of us. I'm not going to say things about Jocelyn because I don't want to be mean, but we've obviously had a lot of razors. We've used Harry's because they sponsor the show. I have actually spent my own damn money to keep getting Harry's razors. After freaking Father's Day, my dad, I'm not joking, it was like a cheesy infomercial. I went to go visit my parents and he's like, hey, how do I sign up for Harry's Razors? And I'm like, let me tell you how you sign up for Harry's Razors, Dad. You go to harrys.com/TAC. So, yeah, my dad, who has to shave his head because he looks like Bruce Willis, has bought in, which I'm jazzed about. So go check it out, harrys.com/TAC. Get your free Harry's Razors trial set right now and support the Angry Chicken in the process. Now, let's talk about what the heck to do with these new elementals in your Jade.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
All right, Elemental Jade Shaman. This, by the way, just big fat asterisks at the top. And everyone always makes fun of me when I say fat asterisks. Think I'm making like a fat ass joke, and I'm not. Just for whatever reason, I always say that. I don't know why. But
when you're busting out the fat ass tricks,
yeah,
on your skateboard,
Dills gets it. Except I'm not.
Or for me, my deck tech because I don't skate. But yeah,
exactly. Oh yeah, fingerboards.
The original fidget spinner, dude. The deck tech. Remember those things?
Oh yeah, doing that
under
my desk while the teacher's not looking.
Dude, I want one of those again. Oh, man.
I was in Catholic school. Teacher still hit you with whatever was in your hand at the time. You had to be careful. You had to be careful. You didn't know. You didn't know the real metagame of hiding your deck tech unless you were at a Catholic school. Anyway, so the disclaimer at the top of this is this hasn't been figured out. We don't know if this is the most optimal way to play an Elemental Jade Shaman, but you've been trying, Dills, and we have all played this deck now, and it's working pretty damn well.
Yeah, it turns out that once you smooth the curve out a little bit with these really strong elemental synergies, you have just a lot of tools, right? I think that's the key to this deck is just how many tools it has. So I was able to beat all kinds of matchups that I think felt pretty poor for a deck like this before, but suddenly being able to just activate Jade's elementals consistently turn after turn meant that I was getting those battle cries, right? Those insane battle cries. So if you think about it, one of the things that always is the drawback of removal is you suddenly stop developing, right? This deck removes as it develops, and that is so powerful, right? Everything that you have that removes something in this deck also puts a minion on the board. Like, what? Every single thing.
Even if it's not necessarily...
Jade Claws puts a Jade on the board. Maelstrom Portal gives you a 1-drop. Jade Lightning, Jade on the board.
And it's not honestly that
Fire
helpful.
Elemental, 6/5. Blaze Caller, 6/6.
And it's not honestly all that helpful, but Hex even puts a 0/1 Frog with Taunt on the board.
That's true. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. And then there was some discussion in my chat last night about the most optimal version of the deck. I originally was running a deck that I think I had a Blood Mage Thalnos just because it felt like Maelstrom was a little too weak without it. And then it had Spirit Echo just because I figured if I can get some more of these strong elementals or strong Jade activators back into my hand, then suddenly I will be able to make, the 8/8/9/9 Jades and stuff like that, or just have like a third Blaze Caller, things like that. Turned out that those never saw play. They never almost did anything. So I took those out, put in a second Tar Creeper, put in a Bloodlust, and all of a sudden the deck just felt like it couldn't lose. This deck tends to have stuff on the board. Like I said, everything you play that removes things also puts something on the board. So you just constantly end a turn with something, right? And it's very easy to kind of stay ahead of people, which means that Flame Tongue is insane in this deck because it just allows you to make these big, trade ups. And then also as you get to the late game, you're doing stuff. I had so many games where I literally went Jade Spirit into Servant, into Fire Elemental, into Blaze Caller, into Calamos Primal Lord. Like that just happened all the time. And it felt like an unbeatable curve. So it's, it feels very strong. I would say that the techs that you can kind of decide upon are, do you want 2 Fire Elementals or just the 1? I have just the 1 because the deck felt pretty heavy already, and I didn't want to be drawing a bunch of 6-drops, in the early game. So I went to 1 Fire Elemental. And then I went to 1 Mana Tide Totem, 1 Devolve, and the 1 Bloodlust. But these are I think these are flex. These are the things I think are going to move around. I think the other stuff is where you're going to see people kind of figure it out, right? I think the basis of the deck is the things like the Fireflies, all the Jade cards. Stonehill Defender, too, I think has to be in here. It finds you more Hot Spring Guardians, which is more elementals to play. It finds you Tar Creepers, more elementals to play. And then, of course, it finds you things like, White Eyes and stuff like that, too. But it just felt good. Like, it never felt like it drew that dead. It's a deck, like, this is the type of deck I really enjoy playing, is kind of this mid-range, very active, always getting the initiative type of deck. Because every turn you feel like you have options, you have tools. And that's like the way I like to play Hearthstone. I like to feel like I have a lot of things I can do each turn, and it's a decision, and making the right one rewards you, right?
Right.
Well, and you talked about smoothing out the curve too, and I feel like the change to Jade Spirit kind of smooths out a whole bunch of curves. It smooths out your mana curve, smooths out your elemental curve, and also smooths out your Jade curve, because you're basically contributing to all of the parts of your deck now with one card, as opposed to having to make a choice between developing Jades or developing elementals. Now you're doing both.
Sure. Yeah, it always felt bad because you would play like a Jade Claws, and then the next Jade you would create would be, your Jade Lightning or something like that, right? And sometimes on turn 4, there's nothing to Jade Lightning. And so being able to Jade Spirit is just the perfect thing. And now it's a 2/3 and a 2/2, and you're starting to kind of get there. Yeah, it's just, the Jades give you some bodies to work with, and then the Elementals give you these battle cries that are just OP as hell. If you want to check out actually my YouTube channel, there's a game where I played this exact deck against the Freeze Mage, and it was kind of awesome because I actually just predicted the game exactly how it was going to go. It was like turn 3 or something when I figured out it was a Freeze Mage, and I had the coin, and I said, all right, here's the game plan. He's going to Alex me, and I'm going to Calamos, heal myself for 12, coin, hex the Alexstrasza. And like I said that on like turn 3. That's what's going to happen. All right, I'm going to keep my Devolve, because at some point he's going to Frost Nova Doomsayer me, and I will devolve that Doomsayer, right? And that happened. Like, it just, every single thing that I predicted just came true. And it's because this deck has so many tools that I was able to, kind of sit back and save those tools for the exact right moment. I had tools for the other situations that I came across. Also, like the ability to, every turn I was thinking, all right, that Alexstrasza is going to come. I need to make sure that I've played an elemental each turn that it's possible it's going to start happening, so that my Calamos will be active, right?
So you when it happened. You start hoarding the tokens off of your Fireflies.
Well, that's when you start playing like just the Firefly and hold back the flame elemental that comes off of it. You start playing like just the Hot Spring Guardian, and I could have just dumped my hand, but I kept just making sure I played one a turn, and then by the time it happened, it was like boom, there you go, Calamos is active. Hex the dude, and we win. So I love a deck like that where you can think things through a bunch of turns in advance and actually follow through with that game plan. It's great.
Yeah, and it fits in Shaman so well. They're already a class that from the very beginning, because of Overload, have been thinking multiple turns ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I see some people talking about some options here. Jade Lightning doesn't trigger elemental count. No, because it's a Jade, not an elemental.
I don't think we.
And then there's some talk about Tol'Vir. The Tol'Vir is the 4-drop 3/5 with a Divine Shield and Taunt, right?
Oh, the Stone Shaper.
Stone Shaper, yeah. The problem with that card is it breaks your elemental chain, and yes, it's a strong body when you play it on 4, but then your Servant of Calamos is not activated on turn 5, and it's just kind of, it's not really doing what you need.
It was a card I remember seeing a lot of when people were trying to make elementals work at the launch of Ungoro, but even back then when people were going like ham, like if it says elemental, it's going in, they were still doing like a one of on the Tol'Vir Stone Shaper for that very reason, because it screws your freaking elemental chain.
And the chain is very important. The beauty of this deck is the things like the Firefly and Hot Spring Guardian and Tar Creeper allow you to just kind of fit in an elemental each turn just in preparation, right? Just in case. And there's a lot of times where my Blaze Caller was like active on turn 7, but I didn't need to hit anything for 5. And I think a lot of people, here's where the decision-making stuff kind of comes into play. I think to a lot of people, you're like, well, I'll just Blaze Caller his face, right? And play a 6/6. But that
It's
dealing
yellow.
5,
You have to play it, Dills.
yeah. But that dealing 5 is such a powerful tool that a lot of times I would instead, take a kind of a turn off a little bit and just play a Tar Creeper and a Hero Power or something, and just be like, now it's still active next turn. So it's the moment I need it, it's ready. And and those decisions would often get rewarded. Someone's also asking, is a cycle okay with only 1 Mana Tide? I believe yes. You actually have a lot more draw than you think. Stonehill Defender essentially acts as draw. Servant of Kalamos essentially acts as draw. And then, of course, you also have a lot of turns where you just use all your mana that turn. So you don't really need to be drawing a whole... Like, you're playing like 1 or 2 cards at the most, not 5 cards in a turn, where you don't need to be drawing a whole bunch. So it ends up being totally fine.
Yeah, this isn't a deck where you're going to be offloading your entire hand rapidly.
Yeah. And then another question is, how often is Devolve worth more than a Lightning Storm? Almost every single time. We actually had somebody in my chat last night saying, I think it should be a Lightning Storm, not a Devolve. And then he went off and play tested it and came back and was like, never mind. Devolve is clearly better. Lightning Storm never really did much. Also, the sheer amount of aggro druid running around, Devolve is just so damn good, right?
It hurts
as well
bad.
as, Paladin's still really popular with all the Murlocs to start off, and anything that has like death rattles or tribes or buffs it's always better to devolve than give them whatever the result of their minions dying is going to be.
Not to mention when you run a Bloodlust, Lightning Storm doesn't get through a bunch of big taunts, right? Devolve does. So the Devolve Bloodlust turn is very real and will definitely win you some games.
Yeah. I like this. You've made me a believer, Dills, in half a day. You've made me a believer. So I'm anxious to see how this goes.
I think, honestly, because I also had some other people testing it, some people in my Slack and stuff who were looking for new decks to play. And they were saying it wasn't going so well for them. I'm a big believer this deck is going to require you to carefully think your turns out. It seems like a deck where you just play on curve, right? But you have so many different tools and so many different options each turn. One of them will be the optimal one. So really kind of consider and think through turns more than you probably are used to. If you're used to play, like, especially if you're playing like aggro decks that just kind of, vomit their hand onto the board and hope, which is how a lot of aggro decks work right now. Like, I think Pirate Warrior is a lot different than aggro Druid. Aggro Druid is just kind of like, I'm all in. Did I win? And Pirate Warrior.
It's exactly how I play
kind
poker.
Of like, okay, careful trades with the War Axe, get some damage in from my minions. Okay, now suddenly go face. And this deck is just a lot more like each turn. Okay, I can remove with this card or this card. Where do I stand next turn based on what I do this turn, right? And you really need to be thinking a couple turns ahead. It's super fun though.
Yeah, I like it. Reminds me of Dragon Priest in a weird way, where Dragon Priest you were always holding back playing things because you wanted to keep them in their hand. Whereas this, like we were saying earlier, it's like I guess I'll play that 1 mana elemental because I just need to keep the chain going.
Yeah, we got one more question here in chat. I'll answer, which is this deck okay without Kalamos? And not nearly as okay, but I did have a game last night where it was a mirror match, and the other guy played 2 Kalamos. Calamai? We were trying to figure out how you...
Calamises.
Calamise. And he played 2 of them. I played 0 of them, and I actually won the game because of Bloodlust. So definitely you can do okay without it, and obviously Servant of Kalamos can find you one, but it is a really, really good card. I can't tell you how many times that card just straight won me the game. The 3 damage AoE, heal you for 12 against aggro, deal 6 to find lethal. It's super good. But I think you could probably throw in like an Alakir if you don't have it. And that would be an okay kind of finisher card too. It's also an elemental.
Yep. Just no Rockbiter, because that stuff's expensive. Sad face.
Sure.
All right. Well,
But look, you got that free legendary now because of Caverns Below nerf.
yeah, it kind of
Exactly.
it kind of stinks now. So go ahead and DE it if you really want 1600 dust. I
DE'd it right away. I was like, nope, that's gone. I haven't even used the dust on anything, but I was like, maybe I'll open a pack one day that'll have it again, and I'll just be like, cool, I have it now. But
There's
if
something.
I get a free legendary, I'm doing it.
There's going to be something in Frozen Throne that I'm going to want more than a crappy Rogue Quest. So
Yeah.
That is true.
unless cards come in with Frozen Throne that make the Rogue Quest insane again, but we'll see. I'll just hold on to the 1600 dust. That might happen. I still have the 1600 dust. I can go
Then you
back
could
on
just
it.
make the quest again, yeah.
Exactly. Joss gets it. All right. Well, before we take some emails, let's thank our patrons over at patreon.com/TAC for supporting this here podcast about, I don't know, like digital cards and Flappy Bird, apparently, is what we've been talking about today. I don't know. But if you are entertained, consider supporting us at patreon.com/TAC. On this episode, we'd like to thank Levi L., Benjamin W., John P., Griffin M., and Benjamin S. Thank you all so very much for your support of the Angry Chicken. Very much appreciated. And check it out if you like the show. Now, let's take some emails.
Hello.
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, did you get my message?
Yep.
Oh,
Hello, brother.
You may actually hear that in coming weeks with people trying to make Illidan work because freaking Flames of Azeroth are elementals, which you shouldn't because they're summoned and then they don't count as a play, so they don't count towards your elemental chain, but still. Someone's going to do it.
Not to mention the whole zombie angry chicken thing that's going to happen.
Oh
Lots
my
of
God.
fucking chickens.
putting a +6 in rage on anything is going to be insane.
It's gonna be
Seems
gross.
good.
It's going to be so gross. I can't wait.
Angry Chicken's time to shine.
I just wanted to get the Angry Chicken art, though, when it's made.
Well, it will because it's going to have the angry chicken will be the first one offered to you, right? Because
Oh,
that's the
right.
one with the crazy text.
You're right.
Is it though, or does it count as a keyword in rage +6?
No, it has the whole big long text thing. So I'm
Does
gonna
it?
say angry chicken's gonna be the first one. I don't think it just says enrage. I think it says.
It says
I don't know.
Enrage +6 attack.
Does it?
Yeah, it's just a keyword because enrage is actually.
No.
Yeah, sorry, no chicken art.
It
Yeah,
won't have.
Damn.
I know.
It won't have the.
By the way,
Or
a
+5 attack.
fun little, let's all feel good about ourselves moment. If you just search Angry Chicken, we come up before the card does. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my god, we do. That's amazing. Twice.
Yeah, it's just enrage +5 attack, so it's keyword. Yep.
sad
Damn.
day. Sad day. I'm still
So
gonna.
sad.
I'm gonna do it once just for You should. You should. Anyways, emails. You should send them to tacpodcast@gmail.com. El Capitan writes in and says, "Greetings, cross cockerels. What did you call me? I will come to the internet at you." All right.
Good one.
Yeah, he says, "I have a simple question for you, although it may take some time to discuss if you're interested. Hindsight being 2020, expansion by expansion, what would each of you say the card that defined the meta at each stage of the game? For example, I would go on record as saying Dr. Boom defines GVG. I'd like to hear what you chickens think. Looking forward to the Frozen Throne." Is anyone here fighting him on GVG?
Nope.
Anyone?
No.
Exa-
Dr. Boom.
Shredder might be the other potential, but I think Boom is.
Nah, it's definitely Boom.
Yeah.
I would say that for Nax, it was Undertaker, and then that changed. But for a long time, it was Undertaker.
And then I would say Sludge
And-
Belcher after Undertaker.
I would go with Belcher too. Actually, that was going to be my pick.
Which one?
Belcher
Sludge
after
Belcher?
the
Oh, Belcher?
Undertaker
Yeah.
nerf.
But yeah, Belcher is like stuck around longer. I would even say Mad Scientist was more important than Belcher. But yeah, Belcher was super good.
I think
now what's
Thorazon for
next?
BlackRock.
BlackRock, Flamewaker. No, Patron.
Oh,
Oh, Patron.
BlackRock's a hard one.
It's
Ooh.
Patron.
Thorazon, Patron.
Well, I guess it depends how you define like
Or
the
Flame
card,
Maker.
right? Like Patron, there was a whole deck built around it. There was a whole ton
The
of
best
juicy
deck built around
conversation.
it.
Like, but I mean, like Thaurissan was played start to finish of when that was available in standard. So
Thaurissan's a pretty big deal too. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
And
because that was
but
in
so is-
so many.
that was in
that
so
just
many
made
decks, and
combos
it was
possible.
played for so long. And
Yeah.
yeah.
If
You know what? I'm going Thaurissan because Thaurissan was really important even in the patron deck.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the answer if we're going with just what had the biggest impact overall. So I would say Thaurissan. If you're going to invoke Patron, you have to invoke Flamewaker as well because they're both like, yes, Patron was a neutral card, but it was only used by one damn class.
Yeah, it might as well have just been a warrior card.
Yeah. So for TGT, I'd just say Mysterious Challenger because I still have people complaining about Secret Paladin to me on Twitter.
Yeah, probably. I don't think there was no like Inspire card that really.
But there was just
much.
a card that kind of showed up a little bit.
Yeah,
But
just a card
Yeah,
made.
but only real. I mean, that was Control Warrior, right? So
Just a card made around.
didn't really see much play anywhere else. I think you're probably right. I'm even looking through. I don't think there was anything really that.
Yeah,
that made
Mysterious
that big of
Challenger,
an
I
impact.
think, Garrett really nailed it because Secret Paladin was the deck for
Yeah.
so long.
I will say though, in Arena, the card that defined TGT was Kraken.
Oh, yeah, North Sea Kraken or whatever,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
deals damage when you play it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kraken was a pretty important card.
I think we
But
all.
yeah, that was a lackluster expansion, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No, it really was. I don't think is anyone disagree on League of Explorers. It's definitely Reno, right?
Reno, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
Although,
With
like,
a
League
close
of
second
Explorers-
being Finley. I think.
Finley, I was going to say, yeah, and even Elise, right? Like,
Yeah, but like Finley made a bunch of aggro decks like much stronger. So
yeah, but Reno invented an archetype.
yes, yeah.
Like yes, yeah. I like all respect, Sir Finley, love the man, good friend of mine, but I go with Reno. Like snap.
And
pick.
then, so what was after League of Explorers?
Old
was
Gods.
Old Gods?
Old Gods. Yogg.
Yeah, I hate to say it, I think I go with Yogg. I friggin' hate that
Yogg
card
is
so
still
much.
around. It's still
Yeah,
being
I
played.
know. I lost to Yogg today. It was annoying.
I hate
But
it.
yeah, no, for sure, it's got to be Yogg. I think.
I hate
although you could also say potentially Flame Wreath Faceless, 4-mana 7/7. It dominated the jokes.
Yeah,
that's for
Flame
sure.
Wreath Faithless was gross, but you know what? That has come and gone. If we're going with like the backbreaking shaman card, no, sir. I raise you Thing from Below.
No, Thing from Below. For
That
sure.
really
yeah.
never went away. Whereas Flame Wreath seemed like it went in and out and in and
It's
out.
in and out, yeah.
Make your joke. You go for it. Giggles, somebody. Thank
I
you.
didn't even giggle at that time. I was so like focused on actual like podcasting.
Yeah, and then
What's wrong with me today?
Karazhan is another weird one, right? Because I chalk that up to like grand tournament levels of this didn't have a massive effect on the game. I might say
Nothing really hit right away.
Not
Probably
at the time,
Firelands
yeah.
Portal.
I would say Barnes.
Made the biggest impact right away and has stuck around as a big impact card. But Medivh has now become a huge deal. For a while, it was Maelstrom Portal, but that was when you could still play Tunnel Trog Totem Golem, and now it's kind of cooled off as far as being like an insane card.
The first place my brain went was Barnes or Curator, just because I see it like through
Curator,
multiple
as far as the
different
legendaries,
decks.
definitely. Curator is such a great card.
Yeah, Karazhan's a hard one. I don't feel strongly about any of these cards.
No, there's nothing that's like Dr. Boom levels of meta defining. It's kind of stuff that's come in and out.
So people are saying like Spirit Claws too, but since it got nerfed, it did define a little bit of an era, but not the entire era of that.
Yeah,
set.
and how did Shaman really change? They just got more ridiculous. It's not like
Sure.
it shook things up for Shaman. They were already good, and it just made them better.
Yeah.
So,
And then we had Mean Streets.
Mean
Gadget
Streets.
Sand. Well, I mean that's easy because that's just patches.
Yeah. Yep. I'm in charge now.
Just patches, man. Aya, pretty good though too.
I was gonna,
Yeah.
I was going to attempt, or really just Jade anything.
Finja was pretty sweet.
Yeah. I wouldn't put him up. I wouldn't put Finja up there with Aya or Patches though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put anyone up there with Patches. Patches just wins.
No. Patches #1.
Yeah.
Yep.
I still have that freaking Valentine on my my refrigerator. They sent Address to the Angry Chicken. It has Patches on there, and it says, "You're in charge of my heart." I love it.
Oh, so funny.
It is funny. It's very funny. And then Journey to Ngoro, which is here and kind of seems funny, but we've got our balance update, so it's probably going to stay like this for a while. So what do you point to in Ngoro? Say that is Ngoro distilled to a single card.
Clearly dino size, right?
Obviously.
Oh, done. Yeah. I mean, you see that? You see that card's win rate? Have you seen that card's win rate?
I would actually say Primordial Drake. Primordial Drake is just in tons and tons of decks, and is just one of the best control cards we've ever seen. Although you could also say like Sunkeeper Terran or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I think Quest for Quest Rogue, just because, I mean, it was kind of meta-defining, like Dills mentioned earlier on. It was a very polarizing matchup. It was meta-defining, so it even got nerfed. So probably Quest for the Rogue Quest, I think.
Yeah, the fact that it defines like a historical moment in Hearthstone time, much the same way Patron does, that it's hard not to look at that. So it's like, yeah, those ones that had the cards that were so popular they were nerfed, it's almost like there's two answers for that. It's like Undertaker for Naxxramas and then maybe into Belcher after the nerf. And now it's Quest. It's probably Caverns Below. Well, what would you say after Caverns Below? I think I agree with you. I think I'd go with Primordial Drake.
There's definitely arguments to be made for Primordial Glyph and Stonehill Defender.
Yeah, I'd agree with Primordial Glyph. We were talking about one of the worst cards ever developed by Team 5.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. I think there's multiple levels of bad card design, and Primordial Glyph is definitely one of them too.
I hate that card.
Like,
so much.
I don't like that. It should discount by 1 at the most.
Yeah.
2, I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Makes me want to scream.
But I think that this is kind of talking really overall about how good Team 5 has become at developing a set. Like GVG, it was like, boom, Dr. Boom. That was the card. And now we're talking on Goro, and, you know, we kind of ran into the problem as we worked our way through expansions. Like, there were more and more cards that we were like, oh, but what about this one? What about this one? And I really think that was, you know, it speaks to Team 5's abilities to develop cards, because now it's a varied meta. It's been good, as much as we talked about Quest Rogue dominating. It hasn't dominated that much. There's still a lot of different deck archetypes that are viable on ladder right now. It's not like everyone's playing Quest Rogue the way everyone was playing Secret Pally. So I think they're actually doing a really good job. And I think this question really illustrates the good job that Team 5's been doing.
A way better job, yes.
Yes, yeah.
Perfect.
Still always room to improve, but I think they've gotten a lot better.
It'll never be perfect, by the way. But yeah, you're right. Like there isn't a card. They stopped putting out cards like Undertaker, and I thank you for that. Yeah. So never again, please.
We did skip Classic. It's freaking Ragnaros.
Oh, right. Yeah, or Sylvanas.
Tyrion.
Oh, Tyrion.
It's many cards, yeah.
Yeah, Tyrion's the one that hasn't actually rotated out yet.
Yeah. I would fight for Rag or Sylv before Tyrion, but not by a massive distance. Mm-hmm. It's right up there.
Sure, but I mean now they're rotated out, so yeah, I don't know.
Yep,
but it's true.
Yep.
It's just, to me, it's one of those things where, like, holy crap, the one class has the strongest damn legendary, like, by far, just so much stronger than everybody else's.
So I usually try and be a good host and prep ahead of time and read things in advance. I did not know this email was in here. So El Capitan, I would just like to tip my hat to you, sir, because this was a lot of fun to sit here and have this conversation with my two friends here.
Yeah,
so thank you.
It was a great great email to end the show, because it's a fun little nostalgia trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a blast. We should come back to that. You know, at the end of every expansion.
Oh yeah, maybe at the end of every standard year, just.
Yeah, what was it? What was it, guys?
Well, I think we should start running the Tacky Awards.
Tacky?
Ooh.
Yeah. we could do it at the end of, like, the calendar year, but the end of the standard year even makes more sense, to be honest.
Yeah, we could.
I like it.
And then at
Card
the end,
of the year, player of the year, tournament of the year, that kind of stuff. And deck of the year. Yeah.
Do we get to get all fancy? Because I love getting fancy.
Of course.
So, okay, as long as I
and then
fancy.
we should each give speeches and then play the music to get each other out of there. You know, all the things.
I love it.
We could have People's Choice. Somebody, we could let the people nominate stuff. It'd be good.
Yeah, and at the very end of it, we'll round up all the winners and call them cheaters.
Totally. We could even give something away to the wrong thing and then
Ooh,
have
yeah.
to suddenly awkwardly fix it in the middle.
Yeah, we can send really aggressively mean emails to people telling them to send in their thank you videos, and then when you send them and not use them.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
And we'll charge people for the trophies that we send them, right?
Yep.
Yep. And
Yeah, I like this.
And if you're very lost as to what reference we're talking about, what I'm trying to say is I'm very excited for the podcast awards this year. I can't wait to ignore it entirely and continue giving it a middle finger.
We're
in
a
my heart.
shoo-in not to be nominated.
Yep. Die in a fire. All right.
And I couldn't say less.
That's going to wrap it up for this episode of The Angry Chicken. Thank you again, patrons. If you enjoy TAC, if you get some value out of it, check out patreon.com/TAC. Huge thanks to our producers, Declan H., Peter Williams, and Michael N. And an extra super special thanks to the patrons this week. I've seen a lot of you in there updating your payment methods because, as we mentioned last week, we've been having a lot of declines. I don't know. Did someone hack Target again? I don't understand what happens. But whatever the case is, thank you, everyone, for listening to the show and updating that information. Follow the show on Twitter at TAC Podcast. Catch it live Tuesday nights at 4 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/AMoveTV. Joss will be out next week. I will be out the week after. But it's still happening. Still happening. One of the three of us will always be here to hold it down. One of these days, I just want to watch the two of you do a solo show, like individually. Like, just want the Dills solo tack, the Jocelyn
Solo tack. I'd just do a call-in show. That was the
Yeah.
case, probably.
No, that's cheating. You have to sit there and try and fill an hour
Just
by
talk to
yourself.
Yeah, just call in and emails. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I could sit and talk. I do it every single friggin' night, right?
No, yeah, exactly. It's just like, well, I'm just going to do my stream. So enjoy. But anywho, speaking of that, Dills, where can folks find you doing exactly what you just made a joke out of?
Check me on Twitter at Willie Dills. Stream is twitch.tv/Willie Dills. Like I mentioned earlier, I put up a video of the deck we talked about on my YouTube channel. Don't really do much to the YouTube channel anymore, but if you are interested in it, it's youtube.com/Willie Dills. And I believe the SF is still in there, so Willie Dills SF. Maybe I should probably change that too, so that it's consistent. And then this weekend on the 15th, there's going to be a special tournament that I'm running for subs and patrons, and it's going to be live on my stream. I'll be playing in it and everything too. Really going to be a fun one, so come check it out. 12 Central. Medivh versus Old Gods. Every deck that everyone plays can only use Classic, Basic, Karazhan, and Old God sets, and every deck must have an Old God in it. So it's going to be really, really cool, really fun, and I like doing these little one-off kind of weirdness tournaments, so this should be cool. So come check it out. A lot of interesting decks to be seen.
Awesome. Jocelyn, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joss Plays, and you can also find me right here on twitch.tv/AMoveTV every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we do our general gaming podcast called The Gamers In. So come and check that out.
Awesome. I'm on Twitter at Garrett Art. Since I'll be gone in 2 weeks, I don't know, check out my Instagram links on there, because if you want to see pictures from like the Florida Keys, because that's where I'll be. You can basically feel the humidity through the photo. And I do many podcasts. All of them can be found at namove.tv. I would recommend going and subscribing to Embrace the Spoilers, because the Kickstarter's been successful. So Joss and I are coming back for the next season of Game of Thrones to spoil the living crap out of that. And we're currently less than $250 away from the Indiana Jones episodes. So 2 days left. bit.ly/Embrace the Spoilers. Go check it out. I can't wait to do this. This is going to be absurd. All right. That's going to do it for this episode of The Angry Chicken. Thank you to HelloFresh.com. Use the code TAC30 for $30 off your first week of delivery. And also thank you to Harrys.com. Go to Harrys.com/TAC and sign up for your free trial set and get your shave on. All right, everyone. Enjoy. Thank you. Job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes!